Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to GirlsVsGhosts Radio. Welcome to the Dr.Gina Show. Dr. Gina is a health and wellness advocate with a doctorate in occupational therapy. She graduated from NYU with a degree in psychology, finished her master's degree at Thomas Jefferson University, and earned her doctorate at Temple University, as well as she holds many certifications in nutrition, personal training, child yoga. Gina now works in early intervention, specializing in children with autism. Gina is an animal lover. She supports many rescue organizations and enjoys advocating for animal rights. Join Dr. Gina as she takes you on a journey to live your best life now.
Hello, welcome to the Dr. Gina Show. This is Dr. Gina. This is a show that I will help guide you on a journey to awaken your soul, to help you live the best life possible here, to fulfill your soul's mission, to guide you in your journey. So life here on earth is what I like to call a memory game. So when we come here, we forget who we are, what past lives we had, what our mission is here, and we also do not know the lessons that we've chosen to come here to learn as well as to pass. This is part of the reason we come here, to remember, to help us figure out who we are and to learn our lessons. Now, people wonder, why is it that we forget when we come here? Why can't we come here and know everything? Why wouldn't we know our past lives? Why wouldn't we know what our mission is? Well, if we did come here and did know all that, life would be too scary for us, too predictable. That's why we have what we call, people like to call it, free will. So although most of the things that we're supposed to do are already outlined, I call them like Roman numerals. And in between those Roman numerals is where we live our free will. So some of that can change. But we do have a long extended record written from the Akashic records of what it is that we are coming here to do, what we like to accomplish when we're here, and the things we want to learn. It's kind of like school, a slower version of school. So this is what we'll be learning while you listen to the Dr. Gina Show, with many other things. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Thank you for listening now live, and thank you for any of the listeners that are listening to the pre-recorded version. So like I said, on tonight's episode, I'm going to give you a little background on who I am and how I've come so far in my journey. So before I get started on tonight's episode, I just want to, again, thank all the people that helped me come where I am. My Girls vs. Ghosts producers, Sharla and Beth Moore, who helped me with very much technical problems, which I am definitely not the best at. Definitely setting up my computer and things like that. I did get my doctorate degree, but as far as technology, I am definitely very much an amateur. So leading up to tonight, I prepared a lot of technical things. So who I am. Well, obviously, my name is Gina. I have a doctorate degree in occupational therapy. And how I got that degree in occupational therapy, that's a story in itself. But let's start from when I was little, as far back as I can remember. So I guess I started having memories. I have memories back to when I was about 2.5 years old is the earliest I can think of. And the first memory that I come up with is being scared to sleep at night. 2.5 years old, I used to, especially at night, wake up, and I never napped as a child, never, ever, ever. I went to preschool, I remember one time, and cried because the teacher was like, you have to nap. And I was like, I'm not napping, because I was afraid to nap, because every time I went to sleep, what I thought were monsters or dead people and they would come and they would like sit around my bed, be all around me. So the last thing I was going to do was nap in some place that I didn't know where I was. So my mother got killed when I was very young, 2 months old. So I was raised with my grandmother and my uncles. So my grandmother always thought, I was having a hard time sleeping and there was things wrong with me because, I went through this tragedy with my mother. But I didn't know what I was seeing, but I thought they were monsters. Because now I know, like, when you're a kid and you see, like, old people or people the way they pass, they look scary. So not only did my grandmother have to sleep with me, but I used to make her put her arm around me and, like, hold me really tight because these monsters were everywhere. Even on Christmas when I had to sleep by myself so Santa Claus would come, I couldn't sleep by myself. So those are some of the early memories that I knew, like, maybe all kids see monsters, I don't know, but something was scary about it. And also, I always had this thing with I lived in Salem, New Hampshire, which was close to Salem, Massachusetts. And I always had this thing about witches, and I wanted to go to Salem. I heard about it. I wanted to see them. Had this fascination with witches, and my grandma would say, what do you want to be when you get older? And I always be like, I want to be a witch. And the show was like Bewitched was on. It was like the only show I liked. So I always had this fascination with something different. And we never had books in the house. So a lot of kids grow up and they have a lot of books. But I just remember this one book. We had some books, but this one book that I always went to was this book that I had on my grandmother's shelf. It was this book. It said ESP. I didn't know what it was. Are you psychic? And I just remember being like little trying to read this book because that was like the only book that I was drawn to. But I never could read it because it was, so it was older, definitely written for at least a teenager, but I was like 3. And I also remember being fascinated with fairies. So when I lost a tooth, my dad, who I was raised with, would always say, the fairies are going to come and they're going to give you $1. So one time I lost my tooth, and we put it under the pillow, and I wanted to get my $1. But I thought I was dreaming that I saw fairies. I told my mom, my grandmom, I called her mom, I saw all the fairies. They were coming to give me the $1 for my tooth. And she was like, oh, that's so cute. But I really did. I really saw the fairies. And then I would see them often when I would go to sleep. The fairies, the monsters, or, what I thought were the monsters, but they were everywhere for me. This happened, like seeing them just like you would see anyone. This happened as long as I can remember, 2, 3, 4, as long as my early childhood memories. Then we went back to Camden, New Jersey. That was where my family was from. And I remember being in my great-grandmother's house, and I would always be afraid of going in the cellar because that's where my grandmother did the wash, and I never wanted to go down there. I told my grandma that there was a guy down there, and I was always afraid to go down there. And she just, again, blew it off, but I always saw this guy down there. And then when I'd go to sleep, I would see the same guy walk in the hall of the house. So one day we were going through a photo album, and I saw the picture of the guy, and I told my grandma, that's the guy I see. Well, that was her brother who had hung himself in the house in the basement. And my grandma was like, that's who you see? I said, that's who I see. I see him all the time. And nobody listened to me again. They blew it off. So fast forward till I'm probably like 8 or 10, and we moved to Philadelphia by now. And I'm still scared to sleep by myself at 10 years old because I still have all the dead people. They're all coming to me at night still. I'm still scared, but I don't want to sleep with my grandmother because I'm a little old. But I'm still scared. So I make my door be open. I have to sleep with the lights on. And most of the time I wind up in her bed anyway, still at 10. This went on all the way up until my early teen years, still afraid to sleep by myself. Finally being able to sleep with like the TV on and the lights on. They have to be on, and they have to have the TV. I have to have noise. Otherwise, everyone's going to come and wake me up. And I still don't know nothing's wrong. I just think that like I'm just a weirdo that sees people around the house. And I don't know anyone that's a psychic or a medium or never really heard of it. So now I'm in high school, and I had an attraction with, I guess cards, like the tarot cards when you become in high school. And I always wanted to learn the tarot cards or the Ouija board. And I even remember being 5 and I was like really attracted to the Ouija board. For some reason, my aunt had one. And my friends would come over, and instead of playing different little board games, I'd pull out the Ouija board at 5 and have my friends help me with the Ouija board, and we'd move it around. And we used to do light as a feather, stiff as a board. And I always remember I was the one who was always able to be lifted for some reason. Never thought of anything of it again. We even did the Bloody Mary, and we installed Bloody Mary in the mirror. All these child games, those are the ones I picked. The Bloody Mary, the Ouija board. Other kids are doing other things, and my friends are coming over, and that's what I'm picking. So in high school, I found these tarot cards, and I thought these were really cool. So my friends would ask me questions, usually about their boyfriends because we're in high school, and I would give them this information, just think it was funny. But sometimes it would turn out to be so true that all of a sudden my girlfriend's boyfriends in high school even were like, well, I don't want you hanging out with Gina. And I thought, well, just because I'm smart and I know guys, I don't know. But the truth was I was on to something, but I didn't know again. And then different things would happen in high school, and I would tell my friends, this, and this happened. And they'd be like, oh, no, that didn't happen. I go, yeah, this girl said that and that girl. And it was always true. It turned out to be true. But believe it or not, if this would happen nowadays for someone who's a teenager in high school, hopefully we'd be a little more informed and we could guide them. But again, back when I was in high school, no one really ever thought about this. And recently I'd talked to some of my friends about, was I different in high school? They're like, oh, yeah, you would go to a party and just be like, I have to leave this party. There's a lot of energy. But I would see different energy. I would feel the energy in the house. I was always much of a loner, again, even then, because it was overwhelming to me. So this is kind of the fast version of me to give you my background so you know who you're talking to. Or if you want to replay this one, if you're listening to episode 3 and you're like, where did she come from? You can go back to this one. So now I'm ready to go to college. I'm a teenager. So I'm going to move out and I'm going to go to college. I want to live by myself. So I move out and I'm in New York. I went to NYU. I have my own apartment. Things are really cool, but I'm still afraid to sleep by myself. Mind you, I'm 17 years old now. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be scary. I had to have my own apartment. I didn't want to live in the dorm, so I have my apartment, and I'm ready to go to sleep. I'm so scared. I wasn't as scared of anyone breaking in, being in New York City, but I was scared of all the ghosts. But now I don't see the people. By the time I became a teenager, I didn't see them, but I would feel like there was something present still. And again, I still don't know. So I'm I used to call my girlfriend Kim and make her talk to me on the phone until I fell asleep, because I would be sleep deprived, so afraid to fall asleep, covers over my head. I felt everybody around me. And I'm in college, and sleeping was very difficult, but I was determined to be a big girl and make this. And it was so difficult for me. So when I'm up here, I met someone that I was working with in a school, and her name was Gretchen. She was like, oh, I'm going to go see this medium. You want to go with me? This is 4 years out of I finally got out of college. So 4 years I did suffer all through school. My boyfriend finally moved in with me, and I was able to sleep. But when he wasn't there, I couldn't sleep. So now I meet my friend Gretchen. She says, do you want to go see this medium? I'm like, oh, yeah, because my mother got killed. That would be really cool. I want to talk to her. She goes, okay, we're going. Okay, so I remember wearing this yellow dress because I want this medium to see who I am. I want her to pick me, and I want my mother to talk to me. So I wear this yellow dress, and I'm like, she's going to find me. She's going to know who I am. So I sit in the front with this yellow dress on. And right away, she says, you in the yellow dress. She's like, oh, I want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. And she gives me some message. I really don't remember what the message was, but I was so excited that she picked me in this audience. And then at the end of the show, I came up to her, and I was like, thank you for picking me. It was really cool. I can't remember if any message came through from my mother, but it was something cool happened. And turned out she was giving psychic classes And I said, wow, and Gretchen wanted to go. I was like, let's go. Yeah, let's go to these classes. They were on weekends. So I'm like 20-something now. I'm like, okay, well, let's go to these classes. And so we started going to these classes and taking these classes. In the meantime, I'm now in graduate school, learning, getting my master's degree, and it was really hard and expensive. So at the time, I decided I was going to work in a bar so I could make more money. And I was working in a strip bar to get myself through college. And I turned out that customers would come into this bar, and I would just be talking to them, and I started giving this one guy business advice. And I gave him all the right advice. I told him about his business partner, and his business partner's doing the shady stuff, da-da-da-da-da. Turns out I was all right. And then he was a very, important businessman in the city of Philadelphia. He told his other friends. All of a sudden, I had customers coming into this bar to not look at the dancers or anything, but to talk to me and pay me to give them advice. And at the same time, I'm taking these psychic classes, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe there's something to this. So I took them at this place in Mount Laurel with this medium. Her name was Marissa Powell. And she says, I think you're a medium. And I'm thinking, no, I think I'm psychic, but I don't know if I'm a medium. She says, no, you're very good. And I said, okay, well, I don't know. At this time, I still thought I was psychic, but I was doing really good in her classes. I was getting all the psychic stuff and getting all the answers, and I was one of the best ones she had in her class. And I learned this was so much fun. I was having fun doing it. It was just cool. It was fun. And then we had these shows for graduation where she would set us up and we would do people readings, and people would come in and we would do that before we graduated, and I was like, oh, I only did this for fun, but okay, I was a little nervous. But then we would have rating sheets and the people would rate us, and I would always get 5 out of 5, and everyone was saying I was so accurate. And at this time, I still didn't know I talked to dead people. So then it was Halloween. How funny, because Halloween has a lot of big firsts for me around this time as Halloween as well. So it was Halloween. I remember sitting in my house. This is in South Jersey, and one of my favorite uncles lived across the street in this house across the street, and he passed away. So I remember sitting there, and the door was open, so I could look across the street and see his house. And I started talking to him. I was like, Uncle Alex, I love you. I miss you. I don't know if I can talk to dead people, but, Marissa says I'm a medium. So I was like, I don't know if I'm talking to you, but, and I just was having a conversation with him. And then I asked him, I said, can I have a sign if I'm talking to you? Because I need to know if this is right. Don't you know his house that he hasn't lived in because he's passed away was empty across the street. All of a sudden, the sprinklers started going off in the house, and all the fire trucks came up to this house that was abandoned that no one was living in when I asked the question. So because I was still a skeptic, I said to myself, well, wasn't that a coincidence? I don't know if I was really talking to him, but isn't that a coincidence? I still didn't believe it. Being a skeptic that I was, even though I was doing this stuff, I still had a hard time believing I was. So I told Marissa the story, this, and this, and she was like, Gina, you're a medium. Okay, I still don't know. So I wind up going to the airport. I'm sitting there at the airport, and I'm getting these messages from this lady. This lady's talking to me. Her name's Betty, I think. I can't remember. I think it was Betty. And she's giving me all this information about Marissa and flying and all this stuff. So I call Marissa. I'm like, hey, Marissa, are you afraid to fly? And everything I said, the spirit said to me. And still I don't believe it. I'm still I don't know if I really talk to these dead people. I can't even believe this is true. But needless to say, I kept testing myself and having other tests, and I'm like, oh my God, I seriously talk to dead people. But again, I still wasn't sure. But now it was pretty much open. So this happens in the spirit world. Obviously, since I was a kid, I was kind of pushing it back, so I wasn't open to it. But now at this time, I was actually opening up to it and kind of believing in it. So when I would go to sleep at night, I told Marissa, I'm scared to go to sleep. All these people are coming. And she said, you just have to own it. Let them know that you understand that you speak to them and for them not to wake you up. So don't you know it was that simple? I'm in my 20s now. After all these years of being scared, I just said that, and that ended it. All my fear went away. They didn't wake me up. Well, I'll tell you about that. But it wasn't as scary as it used to be. And that's all it took, something that simple, which like now you can tell kids, but nobody could tell me that then. But finally now in my 20s, I was able to sleep. One time I'm sleeping and I get woke up and I was like, okay, I'm completely crazy. My really good girlfriend, her husband had passed away, and he was waking me up and he was telling me, call Denise, she's at this, and he was taking me and showing me where she was in this, like, looked like, some factory or something. I'm like, oh my God, I'm completely crazy. But he's like, you got to call her, you got to call her. It was like 2 a.m. I call her. Don't you know? She's away at some hair show, and explained exactly where she was. The messages that he gave me were so on point with everything she needed to know. I was like, oh my God, like I seriously talked to your husband, Keith. Like, oh my God. We were both blown away. I'm like, this is so crazy. So I'm still skeptical, right? After all this, I'm still like, because it's such a thing, especially, then we're talking like 10 years ago, it was still a thing where it was like, well, you don't really want to do this. You're crazy if you believe this. It was really like unacceptable. And I really wasn't sure. So then not too long after that, I'm sleeping. And my girlfriend, Donna, her dog passed away. And I love this dog. So the dog wakes me up. I'm like, I'm completely nuts. I'm like, stand down. Am I really talking to you? I'm really insane. And he's giving me some messages. He goes, tell my mom I can't figure out the puzzle. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a nut, but I have to call Donna. I call her. I say, Donna, listen, the dog came to me. I know this sounds crazy, but he said, all this. He was telling her like a bunch of stuff. I go, but I asked for confirmation, and he said he can't figure out the puzzle. While she's crying, I was like, what's wrong? She goes, he had this little puzzle you put treats in, and he could never figure it out how to open up and get the treat out. I would open it for him. I'm like, okay, well, I'm seriously talk to dead people and I talk to dead animals. And it was even a hard pill for me to swallow. But I did it. I actually believed, okay, I am a complete nut, and I talk to dead people. And not only do I talk to dead people, but I also talk to dead animals. So at the time, I'm a big animal person at this time. Like, I've been saving stray cats since I was 2. Always could save the feral cat. Never understood. People would be like, how do you get that cat? It doesn't even talk to anyone. Well, I always had this thing with animals and very connected to animals. So anyway, there was this show, it was a show, but this organization called Rescue Inc. here in New York. So there were a bunch of guys, bunch of tattoo biker guys, which, like, I love bad guys. I grew up with my uncles, and they were tattoos, and they were like the badass type of guys. So, like, I was really drawn to this crew, Rescue Inc., bunch of guys with tattoos that saved animals. I was like, I need to volunteer for them. I obviously talk to dead animals. I have something with animals. They love me. I'm going to volunteer. I want to be their pet psychic and let those donations go to them. So I searched out Rescue Inc. I told them who I was, and, obviously at the time they probably still thought I was a nut. There were a bunch of badass biker guys, but I think because I was a girl and, it would be cool to have me around at the show, they said, come on down and let's test you out. Okay, so I'm in my 20s still, and I'm like, okay, I'm scared. I'm going to Long Island. I go to the Bikers Club, and it's all these badass tattoo guys, and they want to test me out to see if I'm going to be on the show. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. So I'm sitting there with all the bikers, and they're asking me questions. And I remember this one biker said, tell me something about my dog. And he shows me the picture of the dog. And I was like, this dog is a very special dog. He knows how to open the refrigerator, and he goes in and gets his own stuff out. This biker screams, oh shit, the bitch is good, he says. I'm like, oh my God, I passed with the bad, mean biker, okay. And then I went on to the other biker, and he goes, do I like cats? And I look at him, I go, you know what? You never liked cats until this one cat. I told him the story. He's like, oh my God. Well, anyway, it was one biker after another, scared to death. Somewhere in between, I was doing shots of Jack Daniels with the bikers at the time. I don't drink now, but I did then. So anyway, by the end of the night, they all loved me and decided I'm going to be the pet psychic on this Rescue Inc. thing. It was a reality show, National Geographic. And I thought, wow, I just wanted to volunteer and give some money to the animals, but okay, I guess I'm on this reality show, and I get to save these animals. So I spent probably about a year with those guys. Great time saving animals, doing the pet psychic work, reading the animals, and shooting this reality TV show, which was one episode or 1 hour would be like 13 hours. I'm like, is this really reality? But needless to say, it was so much fun. I got to save a lot of animals, and I met a really lot of cool people. And that was my first, I guess, kind of step out of admitting that I was a psychic through the animals. But again, it was just for fun. I didn't get paid for that, and we did like tattoo conventions and different things like that. And it was just for fun. Never thought I would ever do this professionally or get paid. I only did it for the love of animals. That's it. Nothing else. At this time now, fast forward, I have my doctorate degree, 10 and a half years, Thomas Jefferson. I'm in the science. I still really don't believe I do this. I think it's kind of like funny, and I don't want people to know. I just, I'm kind of embarrassed of it still at this point. But I'm working in a school in New York. I'm like now running the District 2. I'm a head therapist. I'm pretty well known. I have a lot of clients. But needless to say, I still had, I was very controversial. I wasn't good with someone telling me to come in at a certain time. I have to clock a clock. I have to wait for lunch. Like, this was not flying with me. Somebody telling me what to do and observe time. I understand now why not, and that's another episode, but still going back to how I came here tonight to be talking to you guys. So I'm going around, and, I had different controversies with a lot of the teachers and a lot of the principals. Kids loved me, and I loved the kids for sure. It was a lot of fun, and I really liked working with the kids and helping them. But, again, the rules were not doing well with me. I didn't want someone to tell me what I had to do and when I had to do it. I did my job, but, oh, Capaldo, you didn't clock the clock. Oh, all this stuff, calling me things and this and that. So, anyway, one thing led to another, and I left that job. But I think I might have a caller coming in at this point. So we're going to pick up where we left off on that. But I like to talk to callers. So let's have a caller call in and see how that goes. Someone is calling in. So let's see when I hear. Again, mind you, I'm not good with this technical stuff. So I'm waiting to hear someone to connect, and then I'm going to say hello. Is my caller on the line?
Hi. Hey, Dr. Gina, it's Sharla. I just want to tell you you're doing a great job, and you do have a caller. Go ahead, Jen. You're on live with Dr. Gina.
Well, hi,
you guys.
Jen.
Hello. How are you?
Hi, Jen. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah. I'm a little I get nervous about radio stuff, so.
No, don't worry. I was nervous too.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been kind of doing some ghost hunting lately, and I love Beth and Sharla. They're awesome. But anyways, I've been doing some ghost hunting lately, and I guess my question is, I kind of sometimes tend to know stuff, but I don't really say, and sometimes things happen where I have to say what's going on, and that's been going on the past, couple of ghost hunts I've been on. And I'm usually really quiet. I just don't say anything unless, so I'm wondering, if maybe I should be more outspoken, or, I don't want to get annoying, but,
Okay. Do I spell your name Jenn, Jen?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, Jen, I'm just going to ask, when I consult with the guides, I like to and that's what I'm going to do for the answer for this question. So I'm just going to ask for white light to be put around Jen and I for protection, of blue light to be put around us for healing. I'm going to ask for the spirits to guide me with this answer for your question, okay? So now I know that you say when you go on the ghost hunts, you tell me that you're quiet, so you don't want to speak up and say things that that are going on around you, but you're afraid to speak up. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in and I'm going to channel this answer for you. So just listen, okay? I'm going to get some help from the guides, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, yes, you are getting a lot of things, and you hear them telling you things. So they're saying to you, speak up, because they want you to speak up. So they're telling you, but you're afraid you're afraid to say what it is you feel because you're not confident. You're wondering, is this right? Do I say this? Am I wrong? Maybe I shouldn't say this. But they're nudging you. It's almost like they're pulling your hair and pushing you, and it's so strong. That's why you're asking me this question now, because you're drawn to say there's something going on. You know it, so you have to just start saying it, because, yes, there's a fear of saying it because you're afraid that you're wrong, or maybe I'm crazy, or something is not right. But just start saying it, because that's the way you will be validated, by the way you answer, by you start talking, and you'll start to get that confidence up. But by keeping it in, they're almost pushing you and kicking you and saying, can you please talk? And you're just still ignoring them. So you have to come out of your shell, per se, and answer that. So let me just come out of the channel and explain something real quick. So for all you callers and for you, Jen, when I channel something, that would be me, like, speaking directly. Sometimes I occasionally will let a spirit come talk directly through me in a trance, but usually it's a light channel like I am now, so I can switch back and forth from me to them. So when it's them, they're talking straight, whatever guide I'm channeling, or whether it be your guide or and then I interject too. Now, mind you, most mediums are psychics, and I should say all mediums are psychics. So I'm also psychic. So when I channel, I'm giving you a mediumship answer through a guide. But as a psychic, I come out of that and use my psychic ability where I read energy. So I do a little combination when I read. So what you just got was a channel. So as a psychic, I'm also going to give you, this is a psychic advice, and, this is more Gina giving you the message rather than a spirit, which is when I channel. And it's definitely my clients will know the difference. But so as the psychic advice that I'm going to give you for this question is that if you were listening to the show, you understand that even me, and even to this day, I still need validation. But it is a scary thing to actually believe that you're hearing this, because sometimes the voice sounds just like you. It sounds like your voice in your head. So you're confused because you're saying, is this me? Is this crazy me talking? Or is this something else? But it's going to sound like you. That's the problem. And that's what gets you messed up, because it sounds like your head's talking. But in reality, you are listening to, whether it be a spirit or it's your guide who's helping you, but it's coming from a different source. So it is, and I'm telling you right now, this is 100% true. You need to start speaking up because you're hearing it, but you're just there. It's like, oh, I'm just a ghost hunter, and I'm just here to, like, record I don't even know, EEG, sorry.
That's what I usually say.
Okay. I'm just here taking notes, and I'm just holding the light. But in tune, they're just saying, hey, can you wake up? And they're saying, wake up, bitch, but you know what I mean? It won't say that, but maybe I can. But anyway, it's just like they're shaking you. Just be like, can you listen to me? And it's been going on pretty soon. Pretty soon they're going to start tripping you. They wake you up. And just like the story where I ended when you were talking and we took this call, I was getting into the reason that what the spirits did to me to make me wake up and realize that, hey, you are a medium. There's something wrong. That we stopped, and it's amazing that you called in just at that point, because again, that's another confirmation for me, because it should be for you, because I was confirmed that I have to actually step up to the plate, because here I am being a therapist at this point, and I wouldn't accept it. And here you are. You're just like, I'm just a ghost hunter. Why do you think you were drawn into the ghost hunting in the first place? Why did you have that attraction? You see? First of all.
Yeah, I've been kind of into it. It's been my whole life, really.
Exactly. So do you think that's everybody's whole life? Do you think every little girl, like I wanted to be a witch, like too? Like you wanted to look at ghosts for your whole life? Do you think every little kid wants to do that? No. No. It's something, like, it's your soul's journey. It's your soul. It's awakening. It's why you came here. But now you have to start stepping up to the plate, and you're going to start saying things, because now you can not only do the electronic stuff, because a lot of ghosts can only be picked up through that way. There's different residual energy, but there's different types of spirits. So what the residual energy, what that is picking up in that energy, you are picking up with a spirit, which is two different things in different realities. So you are going to add to that by saying what it is you have to say, or what you're hearing. Like, they're lucky to have you, and you're there for a reason.
Yeah, like something happened. Can I tell you a quick thing?
Yes. No,
okay.
You can tell me. Uh-huh.
Well, like something happened we were in a graveyard investigation on Saturday, and there was a male spirit there that was like tugging for my attention, and I didn't say anything. And the group was going, and I said to the guide, I said, "What grave is over there?" And they said, "Let's look." And then he started telling me the history. He goes, "That's a male judge." And I said, "Well, there's a male spirit over there, like watching us." And and so the guide believed me. We walked over, and sure enough, it was a judge. And I said, "Wow." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "Well, I used to be a police officer." So
wow.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, if they were just trying to get my attention because of that, but like I didn't want to say it to the group, so I only said it to my friends. But
okay, well, it started somewhere. So let me just tell you about that real quick too. You know how you just said we used to be a police officer, so the judge. Now, don't you know? Say you were at a party and you were alive, okay, but you are alive, right? So you're at a party and you're alive, and you're an ex-police officer, and there's a judge there. And there's 3 designers there and a shoe person. Who's that judge going to talk to? You're all alive. Is he going to feel more obligated to talk to those shoe designers, or is he going to come talk to you? Right?
Probably.
So,
yeah.
you, right? So now he's dead. Who's he going to talk to? You, right?
Yeah.
And the fact is that you can hear him. He might be talking to somebody that was a police that doesn't hear him, but you can hear him. You see? So, yes, you were right again when you said, that's why he's coming to talk to me. You knew that too. Because you know why?
Yeah.
Because he told you that. That's how you knew it.
And I felt bad for ignoring him.
Well, no, it's okay. You know, I've ignored people since I was 2. But, you know, you start accepting it, you know, and it's a hard thing to accept because you do feel like you're crazy or you're wrong or something's not right here. But the reality is, you're not crazy. You're right.
Thank you.
You're there for a reason. And you definitely have something here. And it's a validation because I channeled the information and the guides told me that. And I'm also psychically looking at you. And I know for sure. I have a lot of people that say it to me, and I will tell them straight up, you know, if there's nothing there. I'll just be like, no, I might not say it, but I kind of tell them. But I'm telling you, yes. You're definitely getting messages, and it's something that you need to pursue and you know, act worried. And even if you want to, like, get your own little tape recorder and start that way and tape record something and then validate it or write it down, you know. I used to test it out with, again, like in high school, like I said, I would just tell my girlfriends, and we'd wait to see if it comes through. You know, someone you trust. And, you know, little by little. But now you tell me you're already investigating, so you're already on the team per se. So
well, I'm not on a team, but I just kind of do it. And I have a few psychics that are helping me with stuff too. Ken Boggle's one of them. He's awesome. And my friend Peter.
Okay. So great. So you have mentors already. That's a big thing. You know, if you have a mentor, someone that does it, because you know, you have someone that you can talk to. I never had that, and it was something that I kept trying to get. So if you're in that and you have that, that's great. But I'm getting another message for you, so I'm just going to channel this, okay?
Okay.
So they're tugging it. It's what they do. They kick me too. So hold on for a second. So you've spent a lot of time in a job that someone sent you to, or you felt like that's what you had to do. But the whole time you were at your job, quote unquote job, you never had a passion for it. It was something you went through the motions for because you thought, this is what I have to do. I have to get this job. I have to do this. I have to do that. But you always had something like you, quote unquote, a hobby that pulled you towards it. But the fact is, this hobby is your passion and what you've come here to do. And it's your soul pulling at you. So now it's time for you to explore that more. You have more time for. So for some reason they're telling me that you have more time. So I don't know if you're like
Actually, that's amazing because I just quit my job. So that's amazing.
Okay. So that's why they're telling me that you have more time now. So so now that you do have this time because you quit, and a job means just over broke for sure. So you quit that job.
Yeah.
And now you can explore that. You know, jobs are great. Jobs are great if that's your passion. And a lot of people, you know, have jobs that they love, and then that's your passion. But if a job doesn't have your passion, that's your soul. It's saying to you, hey, this isn't working. Like, it's time to move on. And now they're saying to you, look, you got this time. We've given you this time now. It's time to, it's almost like a celebration, like a cake they're showing me. Like, it's time to, like, start doing what it is that you want to do. And they're showing me there's more opportunity for you to come, too. Like, this is just, like, they're showing me it's just you just lit the match. It's kind of just like it's just opening up for you. So it looks like it's just the beginning of something that you're going to do. And they are showing me, I don't know, they're showing me, and you told me you were in a graveyard, but they're showing me things about, I don't know if you're going to be leading graveyard expeditions, which is really cool because they're showing me like talking to like a random like tombstone. I used to do this when I was like 13 or 14, which I didn't realize what I was doing, but we used to hang out and drink at this tombstone called Wigglesworth when I was 13. We were terrible. We were drinking at 13. Kids don't do that if anyone's listening. But anyway, we used to go to this graveyard because I would bring my friends. I'm like, let's go to the graveyard. We'd sit on Wigglesworth and talk to like the tombstones. But you can do stuff like that and then just go. You'll find out that you can do the research on the person. But that's a good test by doing that. And you can take other people on the test. And that's a way to teach people, if you know, or teach yourself on just self-exploration. And it's fun. And I did it like as a teenager, but it's something that you could do to bring yourself more awake to that. They're showing me like different things. You're going to be doing a lot of different things. Like it looks like you'll be reading stuff eventually too. So.
Really? I never imagined doing that.
So right now you're like the scared person that's ready, not afraid to talk, but it looks like pretty soon you're going to, not too long, you're going to have a voice where you're like actually telling people how it is. So things are going to be looking up for you. Again, they just show me you're just lighting the match. So it's going to be a good journey for you.
I'm still kind of in that scared spot right now, but
no, you got to embrace it. You know, you have to embrace it. If there's one thing I can tell anyone is like, here I am now, and I am definitely out of the psychic closet, which I just probably came out of 6 months ago, and that's no lie. And I'm still kind of hiding behind the door a little bit, just like peeking my head out. Like after now, like I'm on the show and I put it on my social media, which was like a huge step for me, is to tell people, oh my God, yes, you're a doctor, and you spent 10 and a half years, you know, studying science, and all of a sudden you're like this. And it is such a stigma for me, and I definitely know it's a lot from my past lives and the things that I've been through in my past lives. But not just my past life, but in this life. And it's breaking that past of having that voice of your past lives, which I'm not looking into your past lives right now, but I'm sure if I did, there'd be something about that. And bringing it through and owning in that. And once you start owning that, wait till you see, because right now in your life, there's a lot of things that you want to get better. Let's just say there's a lot of goals you have, and there's a lot of sadness and things that you want to put away. And you know, one of the reasons that will help heal that is when you embrace who you are, when you look at yourself and say, who I am, everything in your life starts to get better. Not just that job, but that relationship, the place you live, the people you see, the way you look, the way you breathe, everything. And that's the God's honest truth. And I've seen it. I've seen it. I call it passing the test. And once you start passing the test, it's almost like, you know, when you pass the test and you get an A and then you move up to the next class. It's kind of like the same thing down here. This is like a school. You pass your test, and instead of getting the A, which is really cool, we get more stuff here. We get shit that we wanted. We get that new car just from passing the test. So by you taking this voice and opening it up, the universe, the guides, everyone's like so happy. Jen passed her test. You know what, Jen? You're going to get the lottery for $50, whatever, small stuff. But you keep passing those tests and owning who you are, and you get more and more stuff. Like, it just, take my word for it, it's amazing. And I teach my clients this, and, hey, I fail my test all the time. And the little gifts that I get taken back from me. Damn it. But the more you own it and know who you are, you'll see the gifts. They'll come. And all of a sudden, you'll just be like, you'll get it. And you're just starting to get it. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I actually was singing the song Defying Gravity because it kind of just speaks to me about that. So
The
you know,
song,
is awesome.
did you say the song? The Defying Gravity?
Defying Gravity from Wicked, yeah. It just was, like, kind of speaking to me today, so.
Okay, well, I love that. You know, I've never been to a musical. The first time this child that I worked with since I was a kid, I work with kids with autism. I work with this kid, and on his 13th birthday, all he wanted to do was go see Wicked, right? And he wanted me to go for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I never went to a musical. I never thought I could sit through one. But when the mom asked me, and the kid, you know, I worked with him since he went to Wicked, it was the first one I went to. Now, like, I've been to many, but that's another confirmation for you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By you saying that, it's just another confirmation. So you are on the right track.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for calling in. Thank you for talking to me. And I hope that you listen. And anything else you want to learn, feel free to comment on my Instagram or shoot me a question. Okay?
Thank you so much. And thank you, Beth and Sharla. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, so I think I have another caller calling in. And, again, I'm just getting used to this technical thing, so I'm going to wait for her to talk before I answer. Are you there? Hello? Hello?
Kelly, go ahead. You're live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Hello,
Dr. Gina. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Kelly. This is Kelly, who I know, Kelly, who I've worked with, Kelly, who's also a psychic tarot card reader. Right? Is this the Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. So how are you tonight, Kelly?
I'm good. I was listening to I was listening to you speak, and I thought I would call in and say hello, and maybe we could chit-chat about a couple of things that I was listening.
Okay, well, thank you. And it's funny because I know a lot of times as a psychic medium, we call to converse with each other. And I know we've done that, and there'll be times where I'm like, oh, Kelly, I'm not in the channel right now. You just can't answer. And you'll just be like, oh, I'm dealing with my son. And there's not always time to answer that. So my friends have to get me at a certain time. So, hey, you got me at a time. So if there's something that you want to ask, I can definitely help you now. So is there a question you have, or you want to talk some business stuff with me? You have a business question or what's going on?
Well, I just wanted to tell you, first of all, I'm really proud that you are, really getting yourself out there, because you are extremely gifted and very good with talking with people. You're very in tune, very self-aware, and I know that you're on.
This is why you're calling in. All right, I paid her, guys. I paid her.
Just trying to blow you up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
okay,
I actually, I had you had channeled for me a couple of people that you were able to see some things, and it was just so amazing, the messages that you gave me, because they were just so on point with who you were channeling with. I knew that was coming through to you. Like, you had something about my father, and I believe you were saying that he wasn't responding, but you could just see he was working really, really hard, and he was trying to get something done and trying to figure things, finish something, and it was just so on point with who he was as a person in the 3D world. And
funny, I don't remember this.
I guess you wouldn't. And that's the question I have for you. Do you often remember? Do you sometimes not remember?
I don't.
When you're channeling.
That's a funny question too, because a lot of it happens not as much, but my clients would text me and be like, ask me something about the reading. I'm like, I'm just being regular Gina now. Like, I'm getting my nails done. Like, I don't live in that channel as I did, as I was saying, when I was 2, 3, all the way up until I was 20. Like, I couldn't shut it off. But now I do not even enter that. Sometimes if I know the spirit, they will wake me up at night, or, sometimes like there is a persistent one that comes every now and then. But most of the time I have to actually go there. And when I'm given the answer, if I'm in a trance channel, and that means I actually let the spirit talk through me, which I occasionally do at different times, I won't remember anything at all. But if I'm in a light channel, Gina will be hearing it, although I'm channeling. It's kind of different. So I will remember it because I heard it too, but I learn so much from channeling messages. just from my clients, even if they're asking me a question about, I don't know, health or diet, because I channel what I like to call the panel of experts. I call them the council. I asked them what I should call them, and we came up with the council. But so I learn. It's almost like I have access to this amazing group of CEOs of anything you want, from nutrition to real estate to things I have no clue about. But when my client asks me, I can channel that, and I learn and get the most amazing answers. And one of the reasons I love reading so much, and not just, I do love speaking to dead relatives and giving people hopes of that, but when I tune into the council, I learn, I grow, I learn, because I can hear, because it's more of a light channel for me. I easily come in and out of it. I switch back and forth. And I remember the first time a spirit actually came in to talk through me, it was almost like a Mack truck went in me. I smashed down the floor. I didn't even expect it. It was almost like, it was the most craziest thing. And that spirit wasn't even so nice. And it was a hell of an experience. It was in my girlfriend's house in Gloucester City across the street, and I was doing an in-person reading, and it was insane. And I felt it, and after that, I was scared. I was going to quit readings after that. It was the most scariest thing ever. But then I learned again how to control the spirits to come in. They'll ask me if they can come. They'll be like, I really want to talk. I want to talk. And they beg me, can they come in? Because they need to express in a certain way to their loved one how they were. So if I feel safe with that spirit, I will. I'll let them come. I'll let them come in.
Right.
But it's definitely something that I have. They ask permission, or they can I come in? Or some are persistent. Can I do this? Because they really want to get it expressed in a certain way, and then I will, because the way they talk, the way their mannerisms are, I'll allow them to get that message across. But most of the time, I will stay in a light channel, and I'll give the answers through me, where I can easily come in and out of it, and it's just crazy. Go ahead.
So I have another question on top of that. Are you able to see the people that you channel?
Yes. Oh, well, I mean, I have seen. That's a great episode, which I'm going to talk about at one point. But yes, I've seen them, just like I see real people at times. Then I see them a lot in my mind's eye, which is the way I see them is in my mind's eye. And then sometimes I'll see an image. So it comes in all different ways. But mostly they show me who they are in my mind's eye. So they show me what they look like and how they are, but it's mostly in my mind's eye. But again, I have seen different spirits walk. Yes, I have. That look just like people.
Have you ever been in a situation where and if you haven't, I'm sure you will be at some point, to solve mysteries or crimes?
I have to say that I've solved a few missing animal cases just because I did it out of love for the animal, and I was right every time I've done that. I've definitely watched the news years ago and would test myself and figure a lot of things out. But the thing is, I need to have permission, so I need to be speaking with a relative. And there's lots of times when I've talked to people that have passed and tragically and given that information. But I need to have the permission, so it will be talking to someone close to them. I can't just randomly say, oh, that guy that died over there, let me go solve that. I need to have some energy or connection to whatever the incident is to see how I can go into that, to give the information. And there are times that they have given me exactly what's happened. And there are times that for some reason they just won't tell me, and maybe that's for the family or other reasons, but I can't get past exactly what happened. So every situation is different in that case, for sure.
So you don't have, so basically, I mean, as far as them, they could tell you exactly what happened to them?
Yes, sometimes they say, I'm not able to tell you. And maybe, and I just found this out recently through channeling, they're not able to tell me because it will mess up everybody's records or everyone's past. They're just not able to tell me. And they've told me that. They just, that's not something it would screw something up if they told me, whatever the higher good is. I don't even understand that. But, yeah,
the psychic mediumship coincide with tarot card reading?
Okay, that's a good question. So here's the thing. As I told you, well, as I told everyone on the show, I first started with, picking up a card and, hey, giving that message. And to this day, like I even taught psychic school for Knowledge Beyond, and I taught, which was hysterical. I taught psychic school how to read tarot cards because I never even read the tarot book. But for me, even my clients will come in at different times, ones that don't know me because I read up here in New York, and they'll say, why don't you use the cards? Because they want to see the pretty pictures, they want to see them. But the tarot cards, for me, is I can read the tarot cards. I actually have a spread here in case I was going to give a universal message if I needed to. But the spirits talk to me. So I'm still in a channel, and they're reading the cards for me. So it's basically like they're just pictures that I look at, but I talk to the spirits. And there are tarot readers, and I know you're a very good tarot reader for sure because you've read mine. You have, your way of doing it, and that is it's organically, and it comes, and your messages come that way. For me, that I'll look at the psychic energy. They look like electric waves, like shock waves, and I'll read that for a person. But I talk to spirit, and I use the cards for fun. But again, spirit's talking to me every time I use the card. I don't even know what that card means. And when I do go to tarot card readers, because I love it, they'll be like, "Oh, this card says here, this means the money card." And to me, I have no idea. I might get the same card, and to me, that card means, hey, you're getting a new boyfriend. Like, you know what I mean? That it means different to me than what it would be to someone who actually knows the meaning of that card. And for sure, I believe that tarot card readers, when they get that card, they get that card because they know the message, how to give it. But for me, that's not the channel that I'm working in.
Yeah, and I feel the same way when I do readings. Sometimes it's always, and I'm sure as you've experienced, it's not just the meaning of the card, but the message you intuit from the card and how it kind of flows and goes. Because there's times when I know you can look at a card and say, okay, well, this card has to do with money, but I'm not picking that up.
Yeah.
And so it could have something to do with money, but in a very, very different sense. So
yes, you Kelly, this is a great question. I'm going to do another episode about tarot readings, and I hope that you can call back in again. But it's time for me to wind this show up, and I appreciate you calling and my other caller, Jen, calling. Thank you so much. Please, definitely, everybody, I hope to follow me on my Instagram, and my Instagram is Psychic Medium Gina Marie. I also have a Facebook page, which is Psychic Medium Gina Marie's Pandora's Box. That's another story why Pandora's Box. We'll get into that. And I also want to have a shout out to Fight for Them. It's on Instagram. They support animal rescue. They come from Rescue Inc., where I used to work, and that's where I met them. And they support animal rescues, stopping the dog fighting. And I really, really support them, as well as I support City Critters in New York that save the cats. I also like Autism Radio because it's my friend Paul Simmons, and he helps children with autism as well as does a lot of jiu-jitsu and grappling, which I'm into. And I also want more shout-out to Gloucester City Community Cats, who help save cats in Gloucester. So I want to thank my producer, Sharla, who is just amazing, from Girls vs. Ghosts with Sharla and Beth, who really opened me up to this. I listened to both of them, and I fell in love with both of them and their show, and here I am, and they're helping me, and they're just both amazing. And Heather, who helps them, and I'm just very blessed, and I want to thank everybody, and thanks everyone for listening. And that's it. That's a wrap.